What I'm going to share with you today is how to get started with your first course. In fact, I'm going to show you how you can take away all the stress, all the pressure, and make it easy to create your course. By the end of this short video, you'll know exactly how to start earning from what you know and do it pretty much right away. But before I get into all that, if you want more course creation tips from me, remember to click the subscribe button below. And while you're doing that, hit the bell so you get notifications when I've got something new for you. And if you like what I teach, give me the thumbs up and let me have your questions and comments below. I do read them all. Anyway, in my opinion, for your first course, if you want to give yourself an advantage and massively increase the chances of success, think about a mini course for your first course. Now, mini courses are pretty cool. Now, don't let the term mini course put you off. They may be really easy, very quick to create, but they're very profitable. So, what's a mini course anyway, and why is this any better for a beginner than, say, a normal course? Well, a mini course, as the name suggests, is mini. It's shorter, it's a shorter course, and for beginners, there's some pretty compelling reasons why mini courses are perfect, and I'll come to this shortly. Before I dive into how to leverage a mini course so you can start building revenue and customers quickly, and by quickly, I mean like in a week, maybe even a few days from now, and that's totally doable. Takes most course creators, even new course creators, less than a week to have a finished course ready to roll. But before we get into the how to create them, let's take a look at why. Why would we want to do this? Why start with a mini course? Well, when you're starting out, what really matters is getting your course finished. No one earns a penny from an unfinished course. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but it's a fact. Most new course creators never manage to finish. Starting with one of these big courses, there's so many moving parts to get right and so much to get wrong. In fact, I think it's something like 85% of new course creators just give up and never get to release their course. Now, I know that sounds pretty bad. That's how it is. So, let me give you some really good news to cheer you up. If you do manage to release your first course, even if it's just a small course, your chances of following up with another course, a bigger course, are huge. Once you've got one course under your belt, the odds are now greatly in your favour. So it makes sense to set yourself up for long-term success from day one, and that's what we're covering in this video. I want you to think of your first course as a launch pad, a foundation on which to build. Don't limit yourself by thinking about releasing a successful course. Think about becoming a successful course creator. Now, it's important to be working on long-term goals here. It's important to have a strategy. And in my opinion, mini courses are a critical part of the course creator's long-term strategy. Now, there are lots of other reasons why mini courses work. They drive traffic without having to use lots of lead magnets and go creating free stuff just to give away to try to build an audience. The sales cycle is short. You don't need launches, email sequences, lots of tech. You don't even need a shopping cart. In fact, a lot of the well-known experts are doing this right now. I've seen Frank Kern do it. Russell Brunson has done it because it works. So, let's get to the meat and look at how to do this. But stick around till the end because I'm also going to be showing you a few little techniques for building a mini course to build your list. And I'll give you a few little tricks so you don't have to spend much on ads to build your list. So stick around for that if you want to build your list without spending a fortune. Anyway, for your first course, in fact any course for that matter, you need a few things for you to be successful. You've got to have authority and trust with those that you're selling to. And the higher the price of your course, the more trust you're going to need. If you're selling, say, a $2,000 course, you're going to need a lot of trust. If you're only selling a $47 course, you don't need as much, which stands to reason. Selling a high-ticket item to a cold audience is hard, really, really hard. But once someone has bought something from you in the past, even if it's just a lower-priced offering, convincing them to buy a higher-priced course is pretty easy. Can you see where I'm going with this? It's all about building that initial trust. And what I'm describing here is the value ascension ladder. You attract the ideal customer with a lower priced offer, which is pretty easy to do. And then as you build your relationship, you move them up to higher priced products. This is nothing new, it's marketing 101, but it works. But even with all the trust in the world, you've still got to be offering a solution to a problem that your audience is currently struggling with. No one's going to want to buy a solution to a problem they They don't think they have. Now, you may very well know that they're going to have other problems later, problems they haven't realised yet, but good luck selling someone a solution to a problem they don't currently have. To start with, focus on their current problems. In other words, what they want, not what they need. Once you've gained trust by giving them what they want, then you can start to move them round to what they need. Your job is to wrap up what they need in what they want. Like giving your pet a tablet, what they need. You wrap it in a treat, what they want. Now, most course creators totally ignore this with the first course, and that's why they fail. They try to cover every possible problem the customer may have. What they should be doing is starting by addressing what the customer wants. They think the mindset is by adding more content, they're adding more value. Well, let me tell you, they're not. It's just giving your audience more stuff to wade through. Customers want transformation, not information. So forget trying to answer every possible question. Draw them in by offering a solution to their biggest current problem. Then when you've done that, they're going to be far more receptive to what you've got to say. Once you've demonstrated that you know what you're talking about, you're now playing a totally different game. You've now got their attention. You've proved you know what you're talking about. And once you've got their attention and built trust, then they're going to be more receptive to your bigger course that offers a full transformation. So, here's how to set up your mini course. You find what's keeping them stuck, what's playing on their mind now. And if you're struggling to find it, and I'm borrowing from Frank Kern here, use the ask method. Find your audience, ask them what they want, give it to them. I mean, how simple is that? And it works. All you have to do now is create and deliver the content. And this is actually pretty easy because to start with, you're only dealing with one core subject, what's keeping them stuck. So we don't need to go creating lesson plans and all that kind of fancy stuff. The quickest way to deliver the solution is by going live. There's no editing, no hosting, none of that. You show up live and you teach. You demonstrate you can help by helping. Works like a champ. Now, with a mini course, I've found the sweet spot, duration-wise, to be about 1 to 2 hours. And so you and your customers get the most out of it. I recommend that for the last 20 to 30 minutes of the lesson, you do it as a Q&A session. Your customers get answers and you get to find out what they want to learn more about and you build trust. It's a win-win. And if you like, you can also give them a PDF checklist or some other downloadable to add even more value. Now, there are lots of platforms for presenting live, but one of the best I've found is DEMIO. And DEMIO makes it really easy. And as for the tech you need to do this, it's really simple, nothing fancy. A cheap mic and a webcam is all you need to deliver a live mini course, or as I like to call them, a live workshop. Now I just want to make a point here, and I get asked this often. Why live versus pre-recorded? Well, I'll give you a few reasons why live beats pre-recorded, hands down. Customers love live video. In fact, Facebook says that live video gets 6 times more engagement than pre-recorded video. And you get to interact directly with your audience, and they get to ask questions if they need a little more clarity. It makes it real easy for your customers to get results, which in turn builds you massive amounts of trust. Showing up live proves you care. Your customers get to ask questions, and you get great feedback on what to create for your other courses and what topics you need to focus on. Now, another big reason is I can bet your competitors don't do this, and this is why you should. The best way I've found to set all this up is just to set up a simple landing page with say LEADPAGES. You could use ClickFunnels, that works, that's entirely up to you. And then for payment, you use PayPal. Again, you could use Stripe, but there's a few little things here that make it a little easier to use PayPal. Then to deliver the content, I've found DEMIO works best. It's simple and you can integrate LEADPAGES, PayPal and DEMIO all together. So when someone pays, they're registered automatically for your live workshop. DEMIO even takes care of all the emails and the scheduling. Now, to make all this work seamlessly, if you're like me and you like everything to be automated, there's a little app called ZAPIER that makes LEADPAGES, PayPal and DEMIO all talk to each other. And that's great because you don't have to do anything. In fact, you can actually do all this for free. If you time it right, you can use these platforms within their free demo period, so it doesn't cost you a dime. Now, let me just give you an overarching view, just so you're clear here. Customer visits your landing page, which is hosted on LEADPAGES or ClickFunnels. They lead your offer and they decide to buy. You've got a PayPal on the landing page. There's no need to be any fancier than this. And then when they pay, PayPal, with the help of ZAPIER, registers them for your live workshop. Now you can skip the ZAPIER part and do it all manually, but I like to do as little as possible, and it's all pretty easy to set up. Once they're registered, DEMIO handles all the email notifications, sends out all the correct links and all that stuff. And after the lesson, it even sends out a recording of the lesson so your audience can watch it again. It's sweet because you don't have to do much. And once you've set it all up, you can run workshop after workshop with almost zero effort. And then once you've done a few live workshops and you've nailed your presentation and tweaked it based on feedback, you could then sell a pre-recorded version if you wanted. But you do need to do this a few times just to make it as polished as you can. Now, everyone who's done this has been totally blown away by the results. In fact, I've had so many people ask me how to do this, I've created a course that shows you. It covers everything, and I've even included how to sell it. And if you want to do this quickly, check it out. I've put a link in the description. If not, that's fine. I've told you what the ingredients are, and with some trial and error, you could probably figure it out. Anyway, now let's just talk pricing for a minute. How much should you charge for your mini course? Well, pricing is a subject that deserves a lesson on its own. It's on my list of lessons to cover. But for your mini course, you want to be pricing it in what I call the non-considered purchase zone. Now this typically is between $47 and $97. What you're trying to do is price it so it attracts the right prospects, but at the same time, it's an easy yes. Now, I mentioned earlier that you could use a mini course as a great lead magnet, and here's why they work so well for building a list. Most people only use free lead magnets to build a list, and that's all well and good. But there's a problem with free. In fact, a few problems. People who get something for free, they don't value the information. They're not action takers. In fact, go on Facebook now and see how many free reports, free ebooks, free webinars you see. It's an endless stream. It's just noise. Most people who download something for free, they don't even read it. So it's pointless. If they don't read it, you can't build trust. And the second point, which I've kind of already touched on, is free means people who aren't willing to pay. Now really, is that the type of prospect you want? Good luck making money out of people who only opt in for free stuff. Lastly, if the majority of people on your list are just freebie hunters, non-action takers who place no value on what you've got to say, running ads to build a list, it works out really, really expensive. The only customers you want to attract are people who are happy to pay for what your information is worth. The value of a list is nothing to do with size, it's how likely they are to buy. So it's a pretty smart move to use a non-considered purchase to weed out those you want to be targeting. Yep, your list is going to be smaller, but it's going to be full of prospects you want to attract. It's worked pretty well for me and my private clients, so why not give it a go? So by using a mini course set at a non-considered price point, you're building a very targeted list and generating revenue at the same time. For your first course, here's the objectives that you want to be thinking about. Now when you focus on just these few points, you'll find creating your first course pretty easy. Start by building core skills, practical skills, and find out what your audience wants and focus on that to start with. It's a million times easier to sell to someone when you know what they want than trying to sell to someone who doesn't even know you. Generate a revenue stream. You don't want to be dipping into your own pocket to build your courses. You want to get money coming in as soon as you can. Once you see money coming in and your list is growing, it gives you a massive confidence boost. Once you've done this, it's pretty easy to move forward and create a course of any size. So the takeaway here is whatever kind of course you start with, make sure it's something that's not going to overwhelm you or your customers. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit the like button. I'd also really like to have your comments and your questions, so you know what to do. Let me know down below. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you know when I've released more content to help you create courses. And if you like this lesson, you may want to know that I also run a Facebook group just for course creators, so why not join and get tips, tricks and techniques daily, and I'll also put a link to that below. Anyway, that's it. So, bye for now.